Ah, January. Keen blows the bitter spirit of the north, and like a warrior foiled with powerless beam, the sun eyes wistfully the frostbound stream. Who am I kidding? It's time to do some car shit. Right before the new year, I decided to upgrade my car by retrofitting a heated steering wheel. I found this example on eBay for $68. You can see it's in overall pretty good condition. Leather's nice, plastics are alright, and it works. Now, while most people might have planned ahead and tackled this job in the summer, that's not me. Nice. Since I have to disconnect the airbag as part of this process, the first step is disconnecting the battery. In addition, I'm putting the seats down and taking out the rear cover to dummy-proof the car in case I need to close the trunk but still have access to the battery. To disconnect the battery, just loosen the 10 mil on the negative terminal and set that aside. Minor setback aside, now we can move up front. Next, I'm using a small screwdriver to pop out the airbag. I'll show you a little bit more about that in a few minutes. Here's a closer look at the two plugs we need to disconnect. The infamous explosive device. Next, there's one 16 mil bolt that holds the steering wheel to the column. Lastly, there are two more plugs we need to disconnect. Here's a close-up of that 16 mil. Next, I need to separate the two halves of the column cover and remove the electric column switch. Here's a close-up of the notch on the spline that will allow us to center the steering wheel when we put that back. Now let's get this bad boy out. The plug for this one is a little hard to access, so I used a small flathead to slide it out. And here's a close-up of that control.
Meanwhile.
So, turns out we had an unwelcome house visitor, so I had to take a break to let this guy free. Which took longer than expected, because I guess this guy liked free food and a warm place to stay. But after some gentle persuasion, he was on his way. Back inside, we can see the old plug with the new. There's the button for the heated steering wheel, and you can see that the two plugs are the same. My car has active cruise control. You can see the buttons there. The new wheel does not, so we have to transfer these two controls over to the new wheel. We also have to transfer this unit to the new wheel, which does not have it. This is for lane departure warning. We'll start by removing the plastic trim pieces. The trim pieces are held in by 5 prongs that correspond to these holes on the wheel. Also, here's a closer look at the mechanism that holds the airbag in place. When you press on this metal bar, it releases the tabs that lock the airbag in. So just take a small screwdriver. There's a hole on the back of the steering wheel. You insert it there, find the bar, press the bar, and release the airbag. Here's a closer look at the control module and heating element. The plug is connected by this cord, which goes to the heating element, which in turn goes all the way around the wheel. On the original wheel, there's also a plug for the vibro unit, which I need to transfer to the new wheel. I'm also swapping over my active cruise control. The control units are held in by 2 T25 screws on the back. Here's a close-up of the screws. With the screws removed, we can slide the controls up and out. The two controls are connected by a cable. I'm just pulling that out of the clips holding it in place. I'm also disconnecting the plug on the right-hand side. Here is a closer look at the controls and where the plug goes. And it's lather, rinse, repeat for the other wheel. To remove the vibro unit, in addition to the 2 T25s, I'll take out these 4 screws holding the plate in place. That's so I can access the plug. Again, we're going to remove the 4 screws holding this plate in to make accessing the control unit and plugging in the vibro unit easier. Here's a better look at that dude. With the plate out of the way, now we can plug in the vibro unit and start tucking in the wires. Here's a closer look at our progress so far. Now we'll reinsert the T25s for the vibro unit and also the 4 screws for the plate. Here's a look at our finished product. And of course, a little cleaning is in order before we put everything back together. Back at the car, we'll start by installing the new button for the heated steering wheel. Followed by reinstalling the two halves of the column cover, which I make look pretty difficult.
Right? I think that's good. Yep. Come on. Yep. Almost there. That's good. Yep. Come on. Give it all you got. Nah. Fuck me. Right. Here's the sit rep. Nice. But this is dirty as shit. So we gotta clean this at least a little bit.
And you know you're having fun when you start to talk to yourself.
Sub-freezing day. That sounds like a good idea. Good idea, Mark. Good idea. Much better. The moment we've all been waiting for.
And here's where we align the notch on the spline with the notch on the steering wheel to ensure that it's centered.
See that those lines are lined up. That's good. So now let's go ahead. Let's plug this in.
And if you're curious what these plugs are for, the one on the top is for the hand controls on the wheel, and the one on the bottom is for the heated steering wheel and the vibro unit. Or so I thought, but we'll get to that later in the video. And here's the 16 mil. For torque, I'm just going with guten tight. Next, reconnecting the two plugs for the airbag. And a good push to secure the airbag. Here's how everything looks back in the car. And that was the fun part. Now for the coating. A little alcohol to get us in the mood. Meh, I've had better. First we'll need to install ESYS, so off to YouTube it is. Search for install ESYS, and I would recommend this video, How to Install and Use ESYS by Evan Goyek. I will put a link to his video in the description, but the gist is we need to download 3 components. The links are in the description of his video, and at the time of this recording they were still active. First we need to download and install the ESYS executable. Next up, the ESYS launcher, which he explains in his video. Last, the PSDZ data file. Once installed, we use the launcher to open ESYS. I will note that initially I had this error upon launching, Turns out I needed to update 2 Java files in my network directory. After that, the application opened with no issues. Lastly, I needed to source an Ethernet cable and USB-C adapter. Then I was all set to go. Back at the car, I connected via the OBD port right under the dash. Here's a look at the Ethernet cable and the adapter.
What's up? Really hard one-handed.
Before I attempt to connect to the car, I put it in accessory mode and then make sure that I have non-essential items like the fan turned off.
Check engine, whatever.
Then I open the ESIS launcher.
Launching ESIS. Okay.
Now we can establish a connection with the car.
Alright. Now let's see. F10. 2011. Connect via VIN. Connection established. Our cheat sheet.
I'm going to skim over the coding part relatively quickly. The gist is we need to open the FA or the vehicle order, save a copy, and then add the feature that's needed. In this case, it's option 248 for heated steering wheel. After we've updated the vehicle order, we have to activate it, and then there are 3 control modules that we have to update. I'll put a link in the description for a very comprehensive video that walks through these steps in great detail. Here we can see I'm expanding the vehicle order folder, breaking it down to detail to see what features are currently included. Since I did the actual coding about 1 week ago, you can see option 248 is already in the list. But if we were to add it, here's where we would add that option in. Quick update. So remember when I thought I could reuse the control module from the heated steering wheel unit? Ha! Well, I was wrong. As it turns out, BMW in their infinite wisdom created 3 control units. One that was for vibro only, one for heating only, and one for vibro and heating. In the end, I had to source a new control unit so that I had both the vibro and the heating feature in my car. Thank you, BMW. And here we are. So apart from that minor hiccup, everything went smoothly. A few new parts, some minor coding, and now I have a nice toasty heated steering wheel. I was able to retain the buttons for my active cruise control. All of my driver assistance features are still working, even though I never use them. The electric column adjuster is still working as well. And the new steering wheel is nice and toasty, a great feature for those cold winter days. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I hope that this video has inspired you to tackle a car project of your own. Until next time, thanks and take care.